Something different tonight. We're going to use most of our remaining time to offer you a detailed look at life in one of the poorest sections of Baltimore. Our focus is on Sandtown-Winchester, the impoverished neighborhood where there was rioting this past week following the death of Freddie Gray. He grew up and was arrested there. So let's begin Sandtown by the numbers. It's a community of 14,000 or so people on Baltimore's west side that, like so many others, was hard hit by the loss of manufacturing jobs after big companies like Bethlehem Steel left town. We begin by looking at health care in Sandtown. For more about this, we're joined by Dr. Robert Blum, the director of Johns Hopkins Urban Health Institute. The institute is less than 5 miles away from Sandtown. So there's this phrase about this genetic lottery. We don't choose who we're born to, right? But the infant mortality rate in Sandtown is more than 3.5 times the national average. 21 per thousand births compared to 6 per thousand births. So from the very outset of life, we already see a huge disparity in health for a person born there versus the average American. Unpack that for us a bit.
Well, first of all, just to put that in perspective, if Baltimore were a country, we would be 75th in the world for infant mortality, below every industrialized country and many low and middle income countries. We have persistent problems due to lack of access to resources, due to persistent poverty, due to lack of education, due to lack of opportunities, and all of these interact to create an environment where neither children nor adults thrive.
So there's another number we came across that struck us, that is life expectancy in Sandtown. It's just over 65 years, 13 years below the national average. That puts people there on par with folks in Pakistan and Rwanda. What should we make of that?
So what we have is a whole set of conditions. We know today that one's environment, one's contexts drive their life expectancy, drive their health status, and to live in an environment with persistent poverty, we're not just talking about access to medical care. We're talking about access to food and healthy food. We're talking about access to exercise and recreational places. We're talking about sanitation. Our environments, and Sandtown-Winchester is one example, but there are many communities like that in Baltimore, where the entire environment, both the physical and social environment, is toxic.
You know, you wrote in the Washington Post recently, quoting now, that teenagers in Baltimore face poorer health and more negative outlooks than those in urban centers of Nigeria, India, and China. So how does this affect the perceptions that they have of the world?
The perception they have, because of lack of opportunity, because of being left out of any American dream, is that there isn't any institution they trust. The focus this past week has been on the police and lack of trust for the police, but there's lack of trust for education, for government, for social services. They don't trust any adult.
My name is Elijah Miles. I'm 18 years old, and I'm a freshman at Morgan State University. I was born and raised here in Baltimore City. The city of no hope is what I've always been told. Growing up, the people on my block would always say, Elijah, that boy, he got potential. He gonna make it far away from Baltimore. My teachers would say that the reason we should get good grades and stay in school is so we can go to college, get a good job, and be able to lead a neighborhood. But I tell you today that it's this idea, this perception of success that keeps Baltimore the same Baltimore generation after generation after generation. I will live in Baltimore City, in the hood, for the rest of my life, until I can transform my hood back into a neighborhood, working with them, fighting with them, struggling with them, because that is the only way we will make progress. And that's the only way we will make change. It was Albert Einstein that said, the world is a dangerous place, not because of those of us who do evil, but because of those of us who witness it, are aware of it, and do nothing.